You also beat Team USA, which is let's just.
I mean, who's going to remember that? Right. As they get beat all the time, right? Like,
and you had like 20.
That was legendary.
That was a fun game, bro. I mean, I can't lie to you. Like, that game was intense. That was like the one game that weekend that was sold out. Obviously, we're playing USA, and we're just like, man, we're going over the scouting report, and I'm like, what's the scouting report look like? Like, blitz everybody, like we're trapping everyone because they're all can go for 40 at any time. Like, what are we like? What's the game? Like, really, what's the game plan look like? I'm like going to this game like we got to get a stop every possession and score every possession. Like, no matter how much we go up, they can come back. Like, it was crazy.
And for those who don't know how it ended, Gabe Vincent goes for a light. What was it? 20 or 21?
No idea.
Don't lie to me. Come on. You know the full line, bro. I know you know the full line.
I think I knocked down a free throw at the end that might have made it 21. I'm not positive.
I love it. So Namdi goes for a loud 21. Like, everybody hears it 21 to the point where it's just like, well, obviously everyone was just blown away by the fact that you guys beat them. But it wasn't like some flukish thing. Like, I watched the game. You guys beat them. Like what
we played a really good game, bro.
You did. Like, you outplayed them 100%. It wasn't flukish. What does your phone look like after that game? Like, I'm genuinely curious.
Out of battery. My phone was going. And the craziest part about it, Dunk, was like, so we win the game, right? That was crazy enough. And just to totally go off track here, I go back to the locker room after the little, post-game interview, whatever, on the court radio. I go back to the locker room, and I'm expecting to walk into music and dancing and like water everywhere. Guys are just sitting there chilling, just like I am now, on their phone, like just like it's a regular Tuesday. Like, we didn't just beat the quote unquote best team in the world, like, and just put hands on them. Like, we were nowhere near supposed to be in that game, on paper. I don't know what the line looked like betting wise, but I guarantee you it wasn't in our favor. And guys are just like, yeah, it's another day. Like. And when I walked into that, I was like, this is awesome. Like, we came into this game ready to compete for a win. And, we expected to win if we did what we needed to do. And guys were all geeked, like, just chilling there. Like, and then the cameras came in. And it was like, all right, we'll get up and celebrate now. But it was just like, it was just whatever. But the phone was blowing up. And then you take the 2 days after, there was nothing else going on in the sports world. And it was just like Stephen A. talking about it. And it was just like, you couldn't get away from it. It's all that was going on ESPN was how USA needs to make adjustments and how they got beat by, they couldn't even say my name. They're, my boy Caleb Agata, like Caleb Agata, the way Stephen A. was saying it. Like, we thought it was hilarious. Like, we kind of ran with it throughout the rest of our summer. But it was crazy, man. The attention we got after that game was insane.
Does any part of you feel disrespected by how surprised everyone was, or do you understand how much of the underdog you are in that situation?
I think that's a fine line, Davis, because like, I get the underdog side of it, being a pretty logical guy. Like, I get it, but I think the emotional side still feels some disrespect of look, it's still the game of basketball. Like, we did what we had to do and we won the game. Like, I get it. Y'all are shocked that we won because on paper, we shouldn't have won. In a game, a best of 7 series, like, it could have been very different, but it's one game. And like, on that game, we did enough to win the game. And it's like, for me, it's like we didn't get enough respect for that alone. Like, we did a lot of things strategically that helped us win the game. Our staff did some good ATOs, did some good adjustments on defense, like, switch this, we're going to blitz that. And I thought that just went completely in the rear view. And it was all just about who didn't do what for USA, which obviously we're in the States and, media is going to do what they're going to do. But I think we did some good things in that game. Like Duncan said, I think we just outplayed them at the end of the day. Like, we made shots when we needed to. We had some big time stops and, it's a 40-minute game. Now, if KD had 5 more minutes, it would have been, I think it would have been a very different outcome because he got hot towards the end where I was like, man, he ran out of time because he started just to take over. And like we've all seen KD do time and time again.
Yeah. What after that victory, and then you head to Tokyo, obviously in Tokyo, you guys kind of struggled to, you were in every game that you played, had an opportunity to win just about every single one of them. What was that experience like, actually being over there? Obviously you talked a little bit about, the feeling of representing your country, but like the actual, day in, day out of being an Olympic athlete this year in a year that was really kind of, derailed because of COVID as well.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, we've had a history of like some organizational issues in terms of just the simple stuff, bro, like the travel. Like it took us 30 hours to get there. Like that was you talk about adversity and a hurdle itself. Like we went the opposite direction. We flew to Germany, I think, first. We're layover for 8 hours and then flew from there to Tokyo. We land. It's like, get your bags and we got to get to the ceremony. Like take a quick shower, get to the ceremony. And it was like, basically from when we got there, it was like everything was on 10, man. We were rushed. We had some issues with our staff and then getting passes into the village. Like me and Epe actually did a whole practice plan day before the game. We played Australia, our first game. Me and Epe pretty much ran practice. Obviously, the guys were great about it. It was a group effort. But me and Epe were sitting there in the cafeteria like, well, so we're going to do this first or that first? Like, and then we got to get to this and we should go over there, ATOs. Like, and we're trying to break down to get ready to play Australia, who at this point now was ranked number 1 in the world. And that's like our opening match. And it was like we had some adversities from the minute we left the States that we had to get through and get over that, got in the way a little bit. I don't want to say like a full excuse of why we didn't play well, but definitely a unneeded distraction. But the day-to-day within Tokyo was interesting, man. Like the COVID testing, we did the drool one, the saliva test. There was one big old mess hall that you could go eat at. And from what I've heard about the Olympics is you can kind of tour the city and do whatever you want, essentially. And naturally, we were unable to do that. We were pretty restricted to the village, which had its pros and cons. Obviously, you get to mingle with the other athletes and walk around and get to experience, other cultures in different ways. But it was pretty cool overall. And the further away I get from it, the more I appreciate it, I'd say.